What's up, you guys? Matt Jablonski here with The Point of Change. It is Sunday evening, 9 p.m. Central, so you know what that means. It's time for somebody to come on here and share their testimony. You guys hear me talk all week long, every day at 10 a.m. Central. I'm here live talking about addiction and recovery. So every weekend, I like to bring a guest on to share their story because there are so many different roads to addiction. There's so many different roads to recovery. So I like to highlight them all. We like to celebrate recovery here on The Point of Change. A couple announcements. Let me welcome some people to the feed. Guys, make sure you like and love this feed. Share this out in any addiction groups you may be a part of or onto your own page if you wish. Tonight, we have an awesome testimony for you. I got Tammy Pouliot is going to be here. Tammy's been following The Point of Change for a long time. Get this. My birthday is 11/23/86. Tammy's recovery date is 11/24/85. Almost 1 year before I was born, she found recovery. So that's awesome. I am super excited to have Tammy on here. Noah Gill, how you doing, brother? Brendan Clarkin, good to see you. Chris Rubino, Paul Martinez, Brian O'Brien, Melissa Wright, Janet McClanahan, Devaney Nelson. Janet McClanahan says, hello, family, Tammy and recovery family. Hello, Janet. Thank you for joining me. Curtis Nelson, good to have you here, brother. Stephanie Titus, hey, fam, love you, Tammy. I love Tammy, too. I can't wait to have her up here. She's sitting in the green room right now just waiting. She's down there just anxious as hell. She said she's a little jaded to come on here tonight, so we're going to make sure we give her all kinds of support and stuff when she comes on here tonight. And when I bring her on here, she has a little bit of heavy news to share with us in the beginning. And then we're going to take a moment of silence for a brother of ours in recovery who passed away too soon today. So I won't waste another minute of our time. Guys, make sure you like, love, and share this video out. If you're watching on YouTube, come on over to Facebook. Actually, I do got to waste another minute of her time because I have a couple announcements to make. We got a new month starting tomorrow. So anybody who wanted to sign up to become a supporter of the page, make sure you sign up tomorrow. Go to patreon.com/thepointofchange to get signed up. Also, February 3rd, I am coming up on Wednesday. I am coming up on 4 years meth free. So I am going back home to be sharing my story of recovery in my hometown area of Ladysmith, Wisconsin. So on Wednesday, I will be speaking at the Warden Avenue Exchange at 6:30 p.m. I'll take the stage, but I'll be there around 5:30 if anybody wants to come early and hang out with me and get to hang or talk to me or whatever one-on-one. Come on by. That will be live streamed right here on the page as well. So 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on The Point of Change. I'll be live in Ladysmith, Wisconsin, sharing my story. Also on that date, I will have free standard shipping on all my merchandise at shop.spreadshirt.com/thepointofchange. If you haven't checked out the merchandise, there's a link in the description of this video over to my merchandise. You can check that out. But February 3rd, to celebrate my recovery date, free standard shipping for everyone. Jessica, good to see you. Patrice, thank you for being here. Brandy, there's Brandy with the RIP Twin DC, and that's exactly what I was referring to before. So we are going to bring Tammy on here, and then we will start off this live with a moment of silence after I get her up here. So guys, throw up every heart in the world for my guest tonight, Tammy Pouliot. Tammy!
Hey. You know, I didn't tell you, and yes, I did in the comments, you are one of the only ones that pronounce my last name the right way.
Ah, that's so good, because I slaughter so many people's names.
Way to go. And for our group, y'all, I did ring this for Maddie. Be careful what you say to him because he will take it literally. Guys, I do want to have a moment of silence for Twin DC. Definitely taken too early. Don't know why. Don't know who would do this, but he left a legacy for all of us, and he encouraged all of us that knew him. He supported all of us. There was never judgment. So please take a moment of silence for him, for his family, and for his group. There's a lot of us that are hurting right now.
Amen.
Okay, I gotta quit. I'm gonna be honest. I've been crying most of the day.
Wow. Well, it's nice to have those moments of silence just to honor the fallen, of course, and honor another brother. But just in this world, it's so hard to find silence sometimes and just listen to the Lord and listen to your soul. So I love those moments of silence like that. But yes, definitely RIP to Twin DC today.
Yeah. I wish you would have known him, Maddie. He was awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could have known him as well.
Had his own struggles, his own physical disabilities, and never let it bother him. And always talked about his God, and that was the most awesome part. So
I love people like that. So I really wish I would have met him.
absolutely. So where do I start?
Well, Tammy, why don't you start off? Let's start. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. A little bit about your background for us.
My name is Tammy Pouliot. I am from Wisconsin all over, but the last 40, almost 41 years, I've been living in Racine.
Okay.
So I'm probably an hour and a half away from you.
Yep.
And we've been trying for 2 years, y'all, to get for coffee. And no more procrastinations, no more excuses, justifications, whatever. It's gonna happen.
It's coffee
Um,
time.
I'll find your house, Maddie. I definitely will. Or I'll get a hold of Caitlin first.
Go behind my back and get the woman involved.
Hell yeah, women stick together, y'all.
That's exactly right.
What else did you ask me? Let's see. I come from a family. I'm the oldest of four.
Okay.
Um,
Was there addiction in your family before you, or are you a black sheep?
oh no, my grandfather on my mom's side was an alcoholic.
Okay.
My mom was an alcoholic and drug addict. I used with my mom.
Okay.
Um, and even in hospice, she went to hospice just so she could get her drugs. She wouldn't come to anybody's house. It was all about those drugs, even to the moment she took her last breath. God rest her soul. But she was one of those active in getting me into some kind of treatment and a
Oh,
recovery. And I never shared that before. So I have to give her that much credit.
definitely.
um, I um I was always called a bastard child, never knew why. Dealt with a lot of sexual abuse through family, starting at 3 years old with my grandfather. Thought it was cool. I didn't know a whole lot different. Um, and then my parents got divorced at when I was 9 years old. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
the oldest of four. There's three girls. We're 11 months and 9 days apart. And my brother, they actually made it a year. Um, but the person I called my dad, and I still call my dad today, was not my biological father. Um, I was born in an unwed mother's home. I was 6 months old, and he decided to marry my mom so she didn't have to give me up. My
Oh,
mom was only 16 when she had me. Back in those days, um, you don't get pregnant. You just don't do that. We're
yep.
talking about the late 50s. Yeah, you don't do that. Um, After I found that out, I knew why they were calling me that. I knew why it didn't matter to my grandfather. It didn't matter to some of my uncles what they did. As
Oh, okay.
far as they were concerned, I wasn't family anyway. Um, and then I got introduced to my biological dad. I am, my mom was Native American. My biological dad was Sicilian.
Okay.
You get involved with the Sicilian family, I don't care who you are, you don't say no to the men in that family on anything whatsoever. So my sexual abuse continued to that family. It also continued with my brother because even to this day, he does not consider me his sister, um, which is okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Um, I needed to find a way to fit in. because already I was not, I didn't know um, where my identity was. And through the sexual abuse, and I would tell you at 10 years old, I was running drugs for that family. Um, so I knew of, and shortly after, I was introduced to using those drugs. Um, 10 years old, y'all.
Yeah. Wow, that's young.
And it wasn't just alcohol, it was, and my DOC is uppers. Anything that got me up, um, to help me drink some more, and anything that was hallucinogenic so that I could go into another world because I really didn't like the world I was living in. Um, hmm. Sometimes I wonder if I would have done any different, but out of the four of us, only one did not become addicted to anything except for codependency. She got that part. I know what it's like to play the clown. I definitely know what it's like to be the black sheep. Um, I know what it's like to be the peacemaker. Whatever I had to do just to create some peace. These are things, Maddie. I was told after my last live by my counselor. She watches replays. She
Okay.
never she never comes on live. She will watch a replay and see what I say, and that includes my own personal lives. So because I didn't say this on my last one, it was, you need to get vulnerable and you need to start talking about this stuff.
Amen.
My
Amen. Them
stomach is
counselors.
turning right now. So I'll get her Wednesday. I can promise you.
Well, this
Um,
is definitely some hardcore shares. I mean, that's, that there's no doubt in my mind how absolutely insanely strong you are now after just this much of your story and just hearing what you've been through this far and knowing that you've been in recovery since 85 after this.
I wasn't so great, Maddie.
Doesn't.
And I have trouble when people give me compliments today because I knew the kind of person I was. And at 16, I decided to kind of pull away from that side of the family, and I got involved with some motorcycle groups. Now, I'm not active, but I will always be a part of them. Um, and I wasn't so nice whatsoever. Um, I have some pretty awesome brothers there that kept me safe, but that was my life for quite a while. Um, and I really didn't want to repeat any of those behaviors with my children, but um, I got pregnant I had my daughter just before my 21st birthday, my oldest, um, and swore I was going to be this good mom, even using drugs, y'all. I was going to be this great mom, and she wasn't going to go without anything, and none of this shit would happen to her. Excuse my language. Um, and from age 1 to age 4, my daughter was sexually abused.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, deja vu. And I used harder. It didn't matter. My kids, none of my kids mattered when I was using it. Just did it. Um, I needed that at that time. Uh, I told somebody my 25th birthday. You asked me about if I come from an addictive family. My 25th birthday, I don't remember my birthday party. I know I went. Um, don't know what I did because my mom, my brother, and my sister bought me drugs and alcohol and got me totaled before I even went to my party. So that's a year that I completely lost. I have no idea what I did. Um, I moved. I was living in Milwaukee then, and that's when I came here. And then I moved to Sturtevant, and I don't know if you've ever heard of that place. It's just a little. It's 15 minutes from my house. It's kind
Oh,
of one
okay.
of those little towns that connect to the county or whatever. And I got a reputation out there. If you wanted to party, you went to Tammy's house. Um, and then I got pregnant again
Mm.
with my baby girl. So I waited 5 years. Can't tell you I was really good during that time, but I at least waited 5 years before I added another one. Um, and things really went downhill then. I used every day, 24 hours a day. Couldn't take my own shower, couldn't bath my kids, couldn't feed them, couldn't do anything without. And I'm going to be a little specific. I hope I don't trigger anybody. Um, but without having my lines on my dresser, on my nightstand, without having the alcohol there, um, I couldn't function
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. It was a 24-hour a day thing. Um, and I did some really stupid crap. I my last concert in November. We drove from there, so it's like 15 minutes from Racine, 45 minutes to Milwaukee, um, to see a Motley Crue concert. So in November, I sat in the back of an open pickup truck, no jacket, no blanket, no nothing, higher than a kite, so I could go watch Motley Crue. And I took a
Wow.
bunch of people with me. Um, and then we came back to my house and we got high for 5 days straight until I got raided. I had Racine, Mount Pleasant, Sturtevant, and the sheriff's department at my door.
Wow.
Um, what I didn't know was living above me was the alcohol and drug counselor for human services. Now, this man watched me for 2 years, never said a word,
Hmm.
never did anything. Um, I owe that man because he could have taken my kids at any time. He knew what I was doing. Saw people coming in and out of my house, saw my dumpsters. He knew exactly what was going on. Um, that raid, and I didn't share this when the police came in my home. Mind you, my children were there. Michelle was 5. The Trisha was just a baby. Michelle climbed in that crib, and that's where she stayed. And when they searched my house, people had been in that bedroom and threw up all over the floor and broke pictures, jumping out of windows. My kids were there, y'all. um, and it still didn't click. It still didn't. They told me to find some kind of treatment, and that's where my mom came in. She said she was attempting an outpatient, and there was one in Racine. Go there. I went, but I went high. I
Mm-hmm.
figured I could play the game and still get high and keep my kids, and nobody would know. Um, and I could continue with my life. Guess what? That don't work.
No,
It
sure
doesn't work.
don't.
I got caught after getting sick in their parking lots and coming wasted and thinking I was cool, and he caught me. Um, and then it was making a decision. Now, mind you, I never thought I was an alcoholic. Did I have a drug problem? Absolutely. 100%. What I could tell you today is that I used those drugs so that I could drink more. It kept me up and kept me going so I could keep drinking.
That's dangerous too.
Absolutely. But it's what I did.
Yep. Yep.
And it took me 35 years. I'm going to be honest. It took me 35 years to admit that. Um, I said in the other live I did, my 35 years, and especially the first 32 and a half and these last 3 years are my biggest part of my story. I 13 stepped. At 6 months in recovery, I 13 stepped, and I looked at my friend, and I had heard my husband speaking, and I looked at him and said, "I'm marrying that man." And he just thought I was nuts. It's like, you can't even stay straight. How are you going to marry him? I did. But that 4 step, anybody that knows the 12 steps of AA, NA, whatever, it says take your own personal inventory. I took his. I didn't take mine. And except for, and I'm going to be honest, because I consider, and I'm not calling myself to be derogatory or mean to myself, but in my addiction, I was a whore for my drugs. It wasn't about money. It was about getting whatever drugs I needed. Um, that's the only thing that I changed the whole time I was with my husband. As long as he was doing the next right thing and providing for the family and making sure the kids were taken care of, I was okay. And he enabled that. He allowed me to just do whatever. As long as I came home to him, it didn't matter. That's dangerous. Extremely dangerous. And I could tell you why, because these last 3 years are probably the most important. I don't know. I don't even know how I found you, Maddie. There was a gentleman in my recovery club that sent me to Bradley. And she was the one that gave me my first belly laugh. Being in recovery, and kind of taught me some things. And then I just found all of you, and I have no idea how, but I don't care. You're all in my life now. And then I found Drew, and I'm gonna say this, y'all. When I said Drew's name on Tony and Tina's live, I got some nasty messages.
Yeah.
But Drew is part of my story. I didn't when I lost my husband, and I lost him 3 years ago in October. Because of that inventory I did on him, I didn't know who I was. Once he was gone, the kids were grown up. And mind you, I have one that is in prison right now for her own addiction. She's been in and out for 17 years. I'm going to tell you, 8 of those times I put her in there because I didn't want to keep waiting up for those phone calls like I knew my dad did. They were all gone. Nobody was in this house. So it was, what the hell do I do now? Where do I go? And my first instinct was to go back. Not necessarily pick up, but go back to those old behaviors. Go back on the street. Go back and do some of the crazy crap I did, because I knew the outcome of those, and I knew how to handle those. When he was gone, I didn't know who I was to even figure out how to deal with me for an hour, let alone 24 hours. I was lost. And I just kept listening. I never forgot what people taught me, but I didn't know how to apply it. Um, Everybody kind of just, they loved me until I could love myself, as they said. Well, I didn't know what love was. All my love was lost, um, or what I thought. I could tell you I honestly love my husband. He will, I will give him um, the most awesome credit for that. He was extremely patient with me. Um, he understood. If that's always the one thing, being married to somebody else in recovery, they know. They kind of know what you're going through. And um, although he enabled me a lot, he understood me, and really didn't judge me. So then I get Drew. And Drew Hicks said, Tammy, I had already been pushing my kids away that first year, y'all. Um, didn't want them to be a part of who I was. And I did go back to some of those behaviors. And my youngest, and she's an important part of my life right now. She said, I don't know who you are. You're not my mom. Where'd you go?
Ouch.
Uh, I was, I wasn't high, but I talk about it now. You could get high or drunk in your head without picking up. You could get all those old behaviors are still, they're doing push-ups right alongside your addiction. They're waiting for you to pick up some of that crap and come back. Um, so I really had to look at it, and that's when Drew said, let your kids in. Tell them who you really are. Become vulnerable and transparent with them. It's been a long 3 years with them, but finally, I can communicate with them, and they watch everybody's lives. Sometimes Trisha will sit on the outside, but they watch and they listen to what other people are saying, and they listen to me. And they used to call me, I'm going to say this, they used to call me a bitch. Um, but she told me last week, she said, I'm glad you're a bitch in the right way. I don't, and what she meant was I don't sugarcoat it. If through whatever
Amen.
I'm struggling with, through my chaos, if I could share it with everybody and say, look, this shit is real, and we do go through this, and I don't care how many days you got behind you, it's a daily reprieve. And it's getting up and making a choice. Do you want to go into that crappy stuff again, or do you want to do something different? And I had to make those choices, and they weren't easy because they're unknown. When you make the choice of doing the next right thing, and you say, okay, God's will, not mine, and you don't know what it is, it gets scary. Um, I tend to get in my way, and I tend to get in God's way a lot. I will admit that I do that a lot. Um, I don't know everything. I really don't. I think the more I'm into it, the more I'm finding out who I am. I feel like that newcomer coming in. I don't know nothing, and I'm looking. Although I have that knowledge, I'm looking for new tools and new solutions, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. Um, I'm still fighting, and no offense, because I've heard you say it, Maddie, and I wanted to say something. I don't care how much time I have. I have a daily reprieve. I do this stuff just like you are, one day at a time. Sometimes it's an hour at a time. Um, and pray that I do the next right thing. Pray that it's better than it was yesterday. And I don't always do it perfect. I don't always succeed in what my desires are. Um, but there's a purpose. November 21st, I had what they call a widowmaker heart attack. Um, I should have been dead. We don't know why I'm here
Wow.
except for God. And being alive, I should have brain damage. So I'm going to tell you where my humor is. I looked at these doctors and I said, well, I'm alive. And you're telling me I should have brain damage. And I probably do because I was already crazy before this happened. And I'm probably crazier now. And they just kind of looked at me like, what in the world are you talking about? Um, some of them have no idea what we go through. They have no idea the struggles that we fight every day. Um, life on life's terms, y'all. It shows up, and it shows up when it wants to.
Amen.
Um, that 36-year-old daughter, that's my baby girl. She'll be 37 in July. Um, that little girl, now that I have a relationship with her, is fighting for her life. And I'm sitting back here trying to be this strong person that everybody thinks I am, and trying to show her that mom's got this today, and that mom can do this. She's got stage 4 ovarian cancer and stomach cancer at 36 years old.
Wow.
Um, she
Wow.
lives 2 doors from me. So I am watching this. And one of her questions today, I really had a hard time today. And she asked if I was still going to do your live. And I said, yep. And she said, how do you do it? Now, I skipped some things, Maddie. Um, during my recovery, my husband put me through school to become a nurse.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't. I was. I'm still certified. I'm still licensed. I keep ringing this freaking bell. It needs to get out of my hands. Um, I'm still certified. I'm still registered. But after he passed, I needed to quit for a little bit. Um, but in 2003, he also put me to school for alcohol and drug counseling.
Oh,
I,
wow.
I stopped that too. I'm still certified, still could do it, but got to take care of me first before I could do anybody else.
Amen.
Um, January of 10 months before my husband died, I lost my dad.
Oh, wow.
New Year's Day, y'all. New Year's Day. So that's a anniversary for me. Um, and then October, my husband, two most influential, most important men in my life. And within 10 months, they were gone. So that just added, who the hell am I?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the ones that loved me unconditionally are gone. What do I show? What do I do? How do I show my kids? Because my dad and my husband saw things in me that my kids never saw. How do I show my kids different?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. It's a one day at a time for me. Today it's been a half hour. You asked me how I was doing. I was laying low. I just wasn't answering. I knew I, when I came into recovery, I was diagnosed with bipolar, and at that time it was hyperactive, and it's turned into depressive. Um, I have an anxiety and panic disorder. I have fought. See, there's a lot I've missed. I have fought cancer 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Um, I've been in remission for. We were trying to figure that out today. I think it's almost 7 months.
Oh, wow. Well,
almost.
that's good. God bless that.
So this is not my hair. Only very few people see me without this. Um, but we'll figure out. Maybe my vanity will disappear someday. Um, I'm being real. I can still get vain. I still get angry. I still have all those feelings, and I can still react on them. It's just a matter of a choice today. What do I want to do? Um, where was I going with this? I freaking, we were teasing you on your live today about you maybe getting old.
It
Uh,
happens sometimes.
I just had a brain fart.
Yep, the train
Um,
of thought just crashes sometimes.
but I have all this stuff. I have all this knowledge, but don't know how to always apply it.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, I can give you all the advice you need, all the suggestions you need, and I've never steered anyone wrong. But I have the inability at times of taking my own advice.
Amen. That's a
It's
tough one.
absolutely 100%. It's hard. Um, and it's not that I don't want to. Sometimes it's just I don't know how. I'm Although I'm telling everybody else how to do it, there are times I don't know how to do it for me. Um, I shared, and I think I shared in our Patreon group, and I shared at other places. I found a bunch of acronyms that my first sponsor gave me. And the one acronym was ASK, ASK, and it stood for Ass Kicking or Ass Saving Kit. If you're reaching out for help and you're asking somebody, you're saving your ass. Because if we react on everything that we do and want to do, for me, for this lady, I'm going back out there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's for the escape, if people think that watching my daughter, I don't want to escape and not want to watch that and see what she's going through, although she watched it with me, that was something I never wished on my kids. I want to escape. So instead, what I do is get on your life and I get on other people's lives. And this morning, I created a room to just have coffee and see some faces, just to smile. And whether we talk serious or not, be able to laugh and tell myself still, and that this is a hard one to convince myself of, is that it's okay to not be okay. That progress instead of perfection, I switched that around. I think I got to be perfect. Forget about the progress. I need to be perfect. And that's an impossibility and definitely not realistic. Um, so I have to be careful.
Amen.
So talk to me, Maddie, because I don't know where else to go. What else?
You're doing great. You've been going for quite a while there. I didn't even have to interject not once.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
That's an incredible story. What an amazing story of going, everything you've been through. I mean, yeah, you may have gotten a little jumbled at the end there. You had some things you had to throw back in, but that's all right. That happens.
I did.
And especially with 35 years of recovery behind you, sometimes all the memories sometimes get confusing anyways.
But it's not, although I know it's the stepping stones that got me into recovery. For me, it's not what happened to me before my addiction or during my addiction. It's what happened afterwards. What did I do with it afterwards? And I could tell you that for almost 33 years, I didn't do nothing. I went to meetings, I was abstinent, but I was dry.
Mm-hmm.
No behaviors changed, no attitudes changed, except around my kids. They're the
Yeah.
only ones that I showed something different, and then when they were away, I became that person again. Um, I don't want people to wait that long. I really don't. Um, I'm 62 years old, and to sit here and tell you that at 50, it took me till I was 59 to figure out, at least start figuring out who I was and what I wanted or what my needs were. Um, don't wait that long. I'm begging people, don't. There was a lot of, although I don't regret the time with my husband, there was a lot of time wasted. A lot of things that could have, would have, should have. So, um, I can't change them, but I can change today.
There
So
you go.
I get up every morning and I do not talk to anybody until I'm off my knees talking to my God. I have to get on my knees first and say thank you for giving me another breath. Show me what your will is today, because I don't know what in the world I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to say thank you at night if I made it through that day and not had to make amends and hopefully did better than the day before. Um, Either way, I need to say thank you. And sometimes during the day, um, when they say we can start our day over any time of the day, I've done that several times during the day and saying, okay. And there were times I literally, I still get night terrors. And hopefully tomorrow I will have a new bed in my bedroom. Everything's changed but the bed that my husband slept in.
Oh,
So
okay.
I still get night terrors, so I sleep on the couch. Um, I have literally gone from one end of the couch to the other to make sure I got up with a different attitude.
And you're getting a new bed tomorrow, though?
God willing, if it quits snowing and we can put this thing in the back of my son in law's pickup truck, yeah.
Amen.
And then I can sleep in the bed. But either way, in bed, couch, wherever, if I'm getting up with the wrong attitude, I need to go back to bed and get up on the other side
There you
and
go.
change that attitude. Do I do that every day? Hell no. Um, there are some people that could tell you that they probably would want to strangle me, probably would want to shake me a little bit, um, and say, wake up. But sometimes, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I got to sit in that crap for a little bit before I realize, hey, this isn't as comfortable as I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I got to change it one way or the other. Any chance, and I forgot what the acronym stood for, but it was the last one. But it's any chance that I can get to recover and do better. And that's
Mm-hmm.
basically what the meaning was. I take it. I get real on my lives. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care what people think. I really don't. And I keep it small because I want to be able to interact. It's not about me today. It's about us. And I want to know where everybody else is.
There you go.
So I'm able to interact and say, okay, I get you, and I can relate. And then I'll share my crap and say, don't repeat it. I already have. I could tell you the outcome. Don't repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at, Maddie.
Amen. Amen. Wow. I mean, I love everything. I love the fact that you're so open and honest about everything, and the fact that you openly acknowledge that the first 32 years were, clean time, but stagnant clean time in a way. You
Mm-hmm.
were riding coattails and pulled off that 13th step, and got somebody else to work on himself.
I will never regret that because he was
No.
the most awesome man around, and he died with 30 years of sobriety. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I would recommend. You know what they say: get a dog, get a plant, and if you can keep those for a year, then think about finding a relationship. Well,
Yeah.
screw the dog, screw the plant. I went and got my man.
Yeah. You know,
It's
I've
not the wisest.
Now, I've told people that, that the best thing in recovery is to get yourself to a place where you can stand on your own 2 feet before you get into a relationship. Because, and the
Mm-hmm.
main reason I've talked about it in the past, and your story actually opened my eyes to another reason why that's so important. But the reason I've said it to people in the past is because I don't want to see you get into a quick relationship with somebody who's got a house and they got everything, and they got all the work
Mm-hmm.
done already. And you get into a relationship 6 months later, God forbid, but 6 months later, something happens where now you're single again. You're back on your ass again. Yeah,
Yep.
the person you hooked up with is great, but you're back out on your ass because you didn't have anything built for yourself. But what your story there showed me too is that, the other end of that is if it works out for you, you end up in that situation, it works out for you, and then you didn't spend the time to work on yourself like you should have.
Absolutely.
Well,
And that's where you find yourself. I was lost, extremely lost, and I keep that in my head. When you get at 59 years old and you can't tell somebody who you are as a person because you don't know, everything was contingent on what he did. It was contingent on the love that he gave me, and providing for my kids and accepting them as his own. Um, Not once ever calling them his stepkids. They were his kids. Um, Through that, I have 5 grandchildren and I have 4 great grandsons. Babies having babies. And because of this 36-year-old that's fighting her cancer, those 2 grandchildren have broke that circle. They broke that chain. Finally, the chain is broken in that generation, and I pray it stays broken. They've never seen me high, but they've seen those behaviors, and they've watched their aunt, and it was a decision at they're 18 and 15. Those are my 2 youngest grandchildren. They made the decision of we don't want that. We want something different, and I'm grateful for that. Um, I pray I never see it broken. Or broke or connected again. That's what I want to say.
yeah.
I pray I continue to see that cycle broken and passed down because um, our steps are not just for alcoholics and addicts.
Hmm.
They're for the normies out there. They're for everybody out there. If you practice those steps, then someday I'll bring them out. I keep saying this and I never pull them out. I have the first original 6 steps,
Oh,
and
really?
they're all taken from the Bible, every single one. And if you look later on, all 12 steps, there's a Bible verse for every step.
Hmm.
But we had to simplify it and not make it so complicated because we might turn somebody off. No, we might save somebody's life.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen so many people have these God moments all of a sudden, and some of them get freaked out because they don't know what it is because they didn't have a God, and some of them it's really huge, and they're hungry and they want to know more. Um, I wish it's, even though they say simple program for complicated people, I really believe that when they simplified the steps, they complicated it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, that's just my opinion, and we all got them,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like buttholes. And I told you this morning, as a nurse, there's not a perfect butthole either, and definitely not a perfect program. Um, is what it
Yeah.
is.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one and they all stink except for mine.
Where's that bell? Here you go, Maddie. Oh my God. I need to say thank you to I don't know who's all on here. I don't know who's listening, but I do know that most of them I've had interactions with in comments or whatever. But thank you for loving me unconditionally, accepting me as part of your family. Maddie, definitely thank you for making me laugh when I come in depressed or angry or whatever. I cannot leave your live without smiling and laughing and my attitude changing. So thank you. I so appreciate that. Makes my life easier.
It's my pleasure.
You're a trip. I'm trying to. You're young enough to be my son, and I'm trying to picture me having a son like you, and it's like, oh Lord, help me. And I love you to death, but I don't know. As a mama, I give your mama credit.
Yeah, she definitely went through.
Definitely.
I get it from her, so it's we
Oh
take it out
Lord,
of each other. That's for sure.
it's awesome. It's awesome. But I'm done. Unless you have some questions for me, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. So I guess I just got to say thank you for coming on here and sharing with us tonight, Tammy. That was awesome.
Now let's pray I satisfied my counselor and she'll leave me alone a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely gotta. You'll have to check up with me tomorrow or next day or whenever it is, and let me know what your counselor thought of this one.
She's calling me Wednesday. You know, it's being a counselor. If everybody thinks we don't need professional help ourselves, we do.
Oh, we do.
And it was one of the best decisions I made. Was to and I have trouble with women. I'm just going to be honest, due to what I went through with my mom. So it was always me communicating with men. And my psychiatrist said, no, this time you're getting a woman. And I
Stepping
found
out of that
somebody.
comfort zone.
Yeah, I found somebody who's just as real. And she's helped me a lot. Helped
Good.
me quite a bit. So I ain't giving her up yet.
Good. You know, that's definitely another thing, you know, when you're going through a self-exploration journey, it's so important to have somebody else there too, you know, and I discredited counseling and thought therapists for the longest time, especially through my active addiction. I always said, you know, oh, well, you're just going in and you got to pay them to listen to you. You know, who wants to pay somebody to listen to me? But the honest thing is it's better for that way because then, you know, there's that money between you. So, you know, there's an understanding that you're there for this. They are there to listen to whatever you have to say, you know, and
Well,
then
and
it's
it's the
somebody.
confidentiality. How much do we really have in recovery? I'm going to be straight up and honest. Not everybody keeps that confidentiality in recovery, and that business gets out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I need to say this, Maddie, that if you're talking about somebody and you haven't gone to that person, what that tells me is your recovery is perfect. You're bored. And I must be pretty important. So if your recovery is perfect and you're that bored, please tell me how you do it.
Yep. You got time to talk about other people's stuff? Ah, I
Yep.
got enough of my own stuff to work on, man.
Yeah, I got all kinds. I'm not stopping. I have all
Definitely.
kinds.
Definitely. All right, Tammy. Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing with us. I'm going to let you get out of here.
Okay, brother. Thank you. I love you. Love you more. That's what we tell everybody. So we keep having that love battle and keep loving each other more.
All right. Well, I love you more.
All right. Mwah.
All right. Have a good night, Tammy. Bye.
You too. Bye.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Pointer Change meets Tammy Pouliot. That was so awesome to have her on here, and I'm so glad to hear that I've been pronouncing her name correctly because I'm pretty good at slaughtering names. Let's be honest. I have had some doozies in my day, all right? And Pouliot, I've been saying it right. I thought I was saying it wrong for a long time. That's awesome, though. Thank you guys for being here and being such an awesome, attentive audience and listening to Tammy as she shared her story. What an awesome story of addiction and recovery. What an amazing story of recovery. And I love everything that she was saying there. And the only thing I will add to it, she said that, talking about how crazy she was. And all I will say, guys, is if I wasn't crazy, I'd go nuts. We got to be a little bit crazy, right? Especially those of us who went through an active addiction for as long as we did. Of course, we got a few screws loose. That's what happens. We loosened all of our screws. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I hope this gave somebody a little bit of hope or a little bit of encouragement or a little motivation to change your life, or maybe just encouragement to stay on the path you are on already. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. right here on The Point of Change. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay clean.